because it's been so long since we talked, it's been about 4 years.
Hmm.
Let's catch up and talk about some awesome games from the last 4 years and a couple of ones that disappointed you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So yeah, tell me some of your favorite games of the last 4 years. Go.
So I see on our outline that, well, I'll get the big one out of the way because I think we both liked Breath of the Wild on the Switch. Oh my God.
Yes.
Absolutely amazing. And I mean, like, system seller for sure. That's why I got it, even though I had the Wii U. But man, that game was just amazing. And I felt like it was one of the very first games where, like if you're going back to the Far Cry example, or if you played like Horizon Zero Dawn or something, like it's neat to like go someplace and look out and like climb up a mountain and just like see around and be like, wow, that's really cool. Or that Assassin's Creed effect where you go up onto the tower and then the camera pans out and you can see the world. And like you kind of got that in Zelda when you go up to like those towers, but like when I played it, I legitimately felt like I want to go to that place. Like I want to see why there's like smoke from there and just like freaking jump off and glide over there. And like it seems so simple to think that freedom of play like makes a big difference, but like actually being able to climb up a mountain if you could make it and not have any walls stopping you is just really, really like a breath of fresh air. And I thought that was great. I think the story was a little lacking in terms of, Zelda's, but I mean, it was more than made up for just what you could do, how excellent like everything was made. And there's things that like people probably don't really think about, but they made it for you without even thinking. Like the sound cues when you pick something up, or when you go somewhere and like you'd hear like wisps of wind, wisps of the wind, and then like the music would kick in, and like all those cues were just like spot on. And then being like a Zelda game, you have solid action, and I know some people didn't like the weapons breaking, but I thought it was great, and it gave the game so much variety. There's freaking amiibo support. Like I just thought it was amazing, and all the new characters that they presented to you were like instantly loved. And yeah, man, like in terms of a Zelda game, like it's honestly they've been kind of either mediocre or kind of lacking as of new content. Maybe the best one was Link Between Worlds for the 3DS, and even that
Mhm.
was just essentially a remake of an older game with more stuff. Like this game just hit it out of the park. And I want you to talk too, but I feel like in the future for Zelda games, I think people will want there to be more games like Breath of the Wild, but I don't know if we need another game like Breath of the Wild, because I think that they could easily do it again and just do something similar ideas. But I think the Zelda series is about exploring new stuff. So like what can
Mhm.
make like what can be done differently to make Zelda relevant, and I think that's Nintendo's sort of theme. So I think with the Switch and this game, like that's what they chose to do. Like they wanted to make something different, something you could take on the go with you, and like that theme was presented in Breath of the Wild. Like Link is going here, like you go with him, and so I like that idea. But
Okay.
now you go.
I feel like Nintendo did say they were going to like the future Zelda games would be more like Breath of the Wild
Yeah.
in
Mm-hmm.
terms of their openness. I mean, there's probably
Openness.
other
Yeah.
ways of doing that other
Mm-hmm.
than the way they did it here.
Yeah, because
But
I think like there wasn't really any dungeon aspect in this game, and I
that
think
part,
that yeah.
I thought that is probably the part that I found most lacking. I just
Mm-hmm.
not being able to like not having much to fight in once you get to the
Yeah.
dungeons, and most of them were just puzzle based,
Yeah.
and I'm not very good at puzzles, so
See, I
um,
think that they could spin it in a way like, yeah, open world, but when you get to that dungeon, that's a scripted dungeon. Like, yeah, why not? Like, tell a good story like you guys always do, and like you said, get more good fights instead of just one little guardian, and then make it worthwhile. So I think in the future, if that's what it's like, I'd be game.
for sure. I But my favorite moments were, of course, just like, well, I'm gonna go climb to that thing, and I'm gonna look around, and I'm just gonna glide that
Yeah.
way. And there were for like magically there was always something cool there.
Yeah, I know it's true. They always rewarded you, and I think one of the other games I want to talk about was Skyrim, and I think they kind of do a good job of getting you someplace and like giving you a reward. But I felt like in Zelda, like no matter kind of where you went, you always got something, and that's really good game design. And even if it was just like a freaking Korok or whatever, it was still like worthwhile. Like, yeah, I did that, and you can remember it going forward. So it's good.
For sure. Tell me more about Skyrim.
Oh yeah, so I've never played Skyrim until was it the anniversary edition or whatever came out on the PS4, and I absolutely love RPGs. I think part of it was because when it first came out on the Xbox 360, I think it also came out when the first Dragon Age Origins came out, so I think I played that. And then after a while, I just never got back to it because I think from Dragon Age I went to like Mass Effect, and it just kind of fell through the cracks. But yeah, the past couple years since we did our last podcast, played Skyrim, played it for gosh, like 3 or 4 months. It was great. Did not beat it. I don't know if anyone's actually ever beaten that game, but no, it was cool. And I got caught up so much in just exploring and like seeing what's over here, what's over there. One day I just remember deciding like, I'm not going to use a sword anymore. I'm just going to use an axe. And so just grabbing an axe and just starting it again. And yeah, I mean, that game was fun. And I think it's a solid like Western RPG, and like you can see the influences that it brought onto games like Breath of the Wild. But yeah, it was just so good, and it was a good game to just show people how I don't know how much fun just exploring could be, and like where the Final Fantasy is there, and I guess I played 15 as well. Like that's a good scripted game too, but Skyrim is a good open game, and they're both like high caliber titles for what they are. But I see why it gets all the accolades. Have you played it before?
Yeah, I played it a couple months after launch. My brother and I got it for, I guess, part of a Boxing Day sale or something, and I poured in about 80 or so hours into it.
Yeah.
I did also never finished it. My brother did, but I like the main story. The main storyline is actually not that long in that game. I've heard you can finish in like 10 hours if you just like.
I'm just dicking around because like it's been a long time. Yeah.
Me too. I just got so lost in that game of like, yeah, I'm gonna wander over there and then fight some dudes, and then all of a sudden I triggered all these weird other quests and
yeah. And all the funny like pop culture relevant or references were great, and yeah, it was neat. And like I played Oblivion twice, and beat that game twice, and then I only kind of dabbled in like Morrowind, but I don't think you need to really know everything to enjoy the story, but it's just neat, and to see the game like progress forward and like how it evolved from each one is really really exciting, because the rumor on the mill is that they're going to be announcing Elder Scrolls 6, and just I can't wait. I mean it's just a rumor, but I think it would be, I mean it's probably going to happen, but yeah man, that game will be killer. I think it'll be amazing if they can even just repeat Skyrim but with new stuff, new stories, new quests. I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, for sure. I would definitely be up for another Elder Scrolls game. I played Skyrim on the Switch for about 3 minutes at a con a couple of months ago, and it was completely alien to me. I'm just like, I don't remember these controls. I guess I'm just gonna walk this way, and then I got killed by the first guy I saw because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
But
wearing Link's armor.
Yeah, it probably was.
Yeah. I think I guess something I forgot to write down too. We played a lot of Fallout 4 as well, other Bethesda games. Won't get into much of Fallout, but I mean that game was kind of it was okay. But I feel like moving forward, if they do make a Skyrim 2, Elder Scrolls 6, I feel like it might take some elements of that game in terms of like collecting stuff to like build things. I guess my speculation for Elder Scrolls 6 would be something along the lines of like kingdom building. So like maybe you as a random hero, whatever, or a king, something like that, have to protect your kingdom. So you might expand it by like building more houses, building guards, like hiring people to come work for you, and that might be maybe the main theme of the game. That's my speculation. I like to believe that in my headcanon that's what it's going to be. So I'm exciting myself out for that, but I don't know if I'm going to run my own rumor mill. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean that sounds cool as long as you don't start adding in like crazy microtransactions of we'll build this tower faster if you spend
gems. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god. No, that's true.
Yeah, please don't make that. Speaking of, I was on your site and I think like honorable mentions for best games of 2017 or games you played in 2017. Yeah. I saw you played it was the Lord of the Rings game.
Oh,
what was that called? Shadow of Mordor?
Shadow of Mordor? Yeah.
Mordor. Yeah.
Shadow of Mordor. Yeah, whatever the first one was. Shadow of Mordor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was super cheap, so we got it for a couple bucks.
And yeah, that game is like, I mean, no offense to Warner Brothers, but that game was like an awesome $20 game.
Oh, absolutely. And like I think we got it for like $3. It was like a super sale.
Man, wow.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, it was like cheap. And man, that game was really good. I think Laura ended up beating it, but I never got to the very end. But that was fun. And another open world game, but just it was kind of like Assassin's Creed, really, I guess. And fun to just run around, kill stuff, level up, and I don't know. sound was great. Like oh, God, what is his name? Italian and Erebrimbor, whatever the elf
I
dude's
don't
name
know
was.
the
Yeah,
other names.
like their voice lines were like memorable and it was cool. And like I don't know, just how like, people give off like one-liners and like, kick ass. Like, yeah, I felt like I was a cool guy like playing that game.
Yeah, I saw that Shadow of War is getting its DLC or not, its microtransactions taken out.
Taken out. That's something that you and I discussed earlier. I mean, I read the article and like their statement why, and like, yeah, it makes sense. Like, you don't want to ruin your system, but I mean, I feel like that's a topic for a whole other show.
Yeah, we'll
but
wait for the
it is kind of weird that they are just removing them. Like, that's kind of a bold statement.
Yeah, I guess it shows how important it was to the game that they can just rip the whole thing out and be like, yeah, okay, it's fine now.
I mean, it's good. Like, they care about experiences more than money, or at least that's what they're implying. But yeah, I think it's a good choice.
Yeah. What other stuff? I see we are okay. Well, now I'm just rambling here. We talked about Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. I'm playing Overwatch. Oh, I didn't talk about Fire Emblem. So in our little outline, I just put Fire Emblem because I think this is the last time we did a show. I've played like 5 of them. But the one I wanted to talk about most was Fire Emblem Heroes on the mobile device, like the iPhone.
Okay.
So I don't know if you played it, but it's like a gacha game basically where you spend orbs to like hopefully pull a random hero that's good or like you need it for your team. First time I ever played a game like that, but it's fun, and I think that in terms of like moving a franchise from a system or a handheld to a mobile device, they did a fair job. Like it feels like Fire Emblem and it looks like Fire Emblem, but it just kind of gets your claws, like digs them right into you and then just like doesn't let go. But like for the whole like year and a couple of months it's been out, I've never spent even like a penny on the game, so I'm still free to play. And like I stuck with it because maybe like 6 months in, I randomly got like a pull that was like top tier, like 2 characters, and so I was like, oh man, like I got to keep playing. And so since then, like I ended up getting my arena team up to level I think 17, and the max is 20.
Okay.
And then from there it was really tough because like if you're free to play, like you just can't compete. I've like died off since then, but I still play like every day just to get all my free stuff and all the new quests, and it's just really good. I think that Nintendo did a good job, and Intelligent Systems is the designer of the game, and they also designed the main series. They did a good job. Like everything is brought in right. I think it's still fun. And more Fire Emblem stuff. Like I know previously I played Fire Emblem Awakening, which everyone loved on the 3DS, and it was great. And then it was followed up by Fates, and that one kind of sucked. It didn't have a good story, and like the character was really weak. And like your main character, Corrin, who's also in Smash, like just wasn't that cool. And like it kind of kills it for you. But there was a good follow up when they did the remake of Echoes, which was originally Fire Emblem Gaiden on the SNES, which never came out outside of Japan. But that game was really good. And it was great because it was a full remake, like all new graphics and all new voice actors, new quests, things like that. And I think I wrote about it on my blog too. Like the thing that stands out the most is definitely the voice acting. Like characters deliver lines with like actual empathy, like when they're sad, and like really if there's funny things, like it actually makes you laugh because you can hear their inflections. And it's the right way to remake a game. Like if you're gonna remake something, like don't just remake it and leave like old systems. They redid it, so it has like the new system for the new games. It has like better everything. They took like experimental ideas and like ran with them, and so it's everything that you would want. Like if someone remade like the original Donkey Kong, like Donkey Kong Country, I guess, like yeah, you want to see similar stuff, but you also want like new mechanics. Like you want more fluid motion, like you want to hear better sound design, and you want to see new levels, and like that's the way to do it. So I think if you're looking for a good way to bring back an old game, like I would look at Fire Emblem Echoes.
Okay. This is kind of funny. You and I are polar opposites on those last 2 games.
Yeah.
Well, let's start with Fire Emblem Heroes. Yeah. I played that for about a month or so. I really like how well. Oh, sorry, Josh. I was just fidgeting here. Shovel Knight Amiibo. Yeah. I really like how they translated that game to mobile. I wasn't expecting Fire Emblem to be like 100% on the phone, but the parts that they got in there, I think, are the right parts. And then the gacha stuff, it worked really well. So I only stopped playing it because I am a diehard Pokemon Go player, which we'll talk about a little later. As for the other 2 Fire Emblem games, I will agree that Fire Emblem Fates is not as good as Awakening,
Mhm.
but I really liked that one a lot, and I'm drawing a blank on the particulars of why I really like one and don't like the other. I hated Echoes though. I got all the way to the end. Yeah,
Oh no.
it really frustrated me that a lot of the levels are still like they've updated a lot of things. Like, don't get me wrong, they updated the graphics, the voice acting was great, but like the level design was almost entirely like, here's a giant open field, go kill the dude.
No, I get it. You're right.
Over like in modern Fire Emblem games, there's more like castles and more objectives versus just like kill all these guys.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, I got to like, I think it was the penultimate level, and I don't remember why, but something about it just like infuriated me to the point where I was just like, I can't have this game like in this house anymore, and I just traded it in. It was the first time I got rid of a Fire Emblem game.
Yeah. No, I think it was pretty divisive for other people too. I think like you said, like the old system of the big open field, I mean, it was pretty much just go kill these people. And yeah, it wasn't that fun, but I mean, I played it for the story, I guess, and I'm just like, oh, I'll trudge through this shitty ass desert and keep going. But yeah.
The story was good. I like the interplay between the two characters, and I was learning coming together. Yeah, so I'll give you that.
Okay, fair enough.
Any other games you'd want to shout out as like great games you played in the last 4 years?
So for Easter this past weekend, we didn't really do much. We had some friends come over, and we were deciding like, hey, what can we play? And we noticed that we haven't played Rocket League in a while, so we turned it on and played a couple rounds, and that game's still really fun. And like, even though we absolutely suck, it's just jumping on and just playing together and hoping you can maybe just hit the ball is like really, really great. But I think that's a fun game. And if you're looking at games from the past 4 years, that's definitely one we went back to a lot. And they had a good update when they did the Rumble update where you could get all the power ups. Like, that was really smart move, and it was all free. And just all like the extra content that they add for it it's fun. And I think if you're looking at, what's the term they throw out, like games as a service, so like they keep giving you more and more, so you keep going back. Rocket League does a good job, and similar to like Overwatch, where you can keep getting your loot boxes, keep playing, get more stuff, feel encouraged to keep going. That's the way to do it, and I want to see more games take advantage of that. Have you played it or no? I know people don't like it.
Why would you not like Rocket League? Rocket League's fantastic.
Some people think it's too hard, and you just can't figure it out.
I got Rocket League at launch on the PlayStation 4, and they're giving it away for free. I never played it seriously till like last winter. Like, I played it a couple of times with my sister-in-law's boyfriend when he'd come over to the house and we had nothing to do, so we'll just play this game, Rocket League. And I didn't start playing it seriously till it came out on the Switch.
Oh, really? I debated buying it for the Switch over Kirby, but I got Kirby instead.
Okay, Rocket League is great on the Switch. I think it plays, like, it doesn't look as good, but I heard there was a graphics update recently, so it apparently looks a lot better. But it plays the same. And it's just as smooth, and I played a ton of Rocket League on the Switch.
Yeah. Oh, maybe I'll have to get it. No, I mean, like, and the idea of just taking it wherever is also really, really enticing, because it's just like a perfect game to play for, like, a break or a lunch break or something like that. Just jump in and play around.
Yeah. Some people are really good at Rocket League. Oh, man.
You can, like, fly around the court. I'm like, what are you doing?
The craziest goal. Like, this one guy pretty much single-handedly beat my brother and I 13-1. And, like, if these are the nets, the one time the ball was, like, right here, just hovering above our own net. And this guy from his net jumped and flew all the way across the arena and tilted at just the right angle to, like, spike the ball down and into our net.
That's insane. And, like, seeing people do that makes me think, like, dude, get a life. You're too good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it's good. And, like, I mean, seriously, like, we were, the past, like, weekend, we were like, oh my God, we won a game. Like, everyone's just, like, and when we start a game and, like, the other team isn't, like, instantly getting goals, we're like, oh, guys, they suck too. We can win. That's my Rocket League experience.